Hi, thank you once again for joining me to talk all things vertical drama. I'm really excited because I have two creatives, artists, pioneers who potentially are going to bring about something really, really exciting in the future of vertical drama. And that is Edwin and Ivan. So I'm going to ask them both to introduce themselves, and then we're going to start explaining what is so exciting that they are going to make happen.
My name's Edwin Ruyonga. There's a group of us, not a big circle, but we're definitely the brother duo within that group. Ivan's my brother. I'm in entertainment and media. I'm an entertainment and media junkie, but I also happen to be a hip hop artist from Uganda. I went to the States for a while, but yeah, I definitely represent as an African hip hop artist. But I've also forayed into movies. I've loved movies, but also one of the guys who I produce for, he's like a magician with media. So he does music, he does movies, he does content, and he did a short movie. We've actually done a few movie projects together, but I really got to collaborate on a short movie project that was received really well. It's called Dance with the Bride. So it really stoked the fires in me to hopefully one day go in that direction. I could add on to that, but that's basically me in a nutshell. Ruyonga Music, first name Edwin.
Okay, like Edwin said, we're brothers. I'm actually the younger one. He's older. My background is I'm in the States, so I'm based in Dallas, and my background is in business development, sales, marketing, right? So I've been doing that for about 10 years. Fundraising, marketing, done a lot of work with Edwin. I might be his biggest fan, but done a lot of work with Edwin in terms of music, marketing, promotion, stuff like that. And a few months ago, he came to me with this idea, and I'd never seen micro dramas, but when I looked into it, yeah, I guess he's gonna tell more of that story.
Okay, you're loving media culture, you're really, really active. So you've got your own big movie career, you are watching movies. How do you then stumble upon vertical dramas? Do you remember what caught your eye and the first ones?
Yeah. So, okay, it's interesting. I would say yes and no. So I think I first got introduced to the medium without realizing it. So I kept noticing these ads on YouTube and on Facebook and on social media in general. And at first I wasn't paying them any mind. And then I was like, these keep popping up everywhere. And then I was like, these are interesting. So I left it alone. And then I suddenly started noticing that everywhere I went, people were watching them. Like everywhere I would either be hearing, so I guess there's like, I would put it in three forms. It's not like the full three forms. These are the three forms that I'd hear. I would hear the narrator who would be talking over I think that's big on the ad space. Then also, I would also be hearing the narrator over the romantic fiction, which is, I think, a big part of where the verticals came from, or I'd just be hearing dialogue. And you can just almost tell from the dialogue when you've watched a couple of them, like script writing. Like I'm a big fan, and I've really been trying to get into that space. And I think for me, it was just an internal question I was asking myself of how do I branch out into that space? Because I do music and I'm known for music, but I'm also known for storytelling. That's a big part of what I do. So in the middle of all that, and the latter half of this year, I really was trying to open my mind up to just new things. And then I saw micro drama, vertical drama. I started seeing these phrases pop up and like different news articles about them. So when I clicked that, I was like, I've been watching these. I've been seeing these. And the minute that I started even just saying that, suddenly I noticed that a lot of people that I knew just had the apps on their phone, whether or not they were watching them, but they were definitely watching them on Facebook. I didn't even have to prompt conversations. I'll go to the barber shop, somebody's watching them. I'll go to the print shop, somebody's watching them. I'm chilling in a cafe. Somebody's like, you could hear them. Somebody was always watching them. And I was like, this is interesting. And then I noticed that the next thing, which really stood out for me, was like everybody was watching them, but what everybody was watching was I didn't see one representative from where I'm from. I didn't see one. And I actually like reached out to a few people and said, we're trying to do the first one. And someone told me they've already done. Okay, like they've already been done. And I was like, please show me. But I haven't found one. So without preempting any next question, I'd say that's how I really got into, and that has happened over the space of like 1.5 to 2 months.
And just to explain what people are watching, because obviously there's a lot of the Chinese made ones featuring Chinese cast. And then obviously there's I would say probably the main well-known ones, the American ones featuring American ones. Were you noticing people watching the Chinese ones or the American ones?
So I'm just going to speak on where I'm from or where I'm at. The first two that I noticed were actually Asian and European. So, and I think that was more on YouTube. On Facebook, mostly Asian. Then there was like an influx of the American ones. Like when they came, they all came at once. It went from like 0 to like. And here's the thing: I understand it's been happening since like 2023, 2024, but for me, I really just started catching on not so long ago. But I've binge watched a lot, and actually, I watch all of the interviews on Vertical Drama Love. So whenever I watch an interview, I go and check out a movie. So big ups to Jen and big ups to the community that you have created. You've done a really unique thing, which is also one of the draws for me of the micro drama space is you get to do unique things because it's still a fresh, wide open space. And I really see what you're doing. And like, even now, it might not be as visible to people how powerful that community is. It definitely will down the line, but I believe even now to very many, it's very, very obvious. Like it's a very powerful tool, but I mean, it must be exciting for you being a pioneer in that space. Like to be like, oh, I love these dramas and I'm finding the community and you're able to put together a community of people who love the same thing. So that freshness, that for me is also a draw because I get to be a part of something new. But yeah, definitely like long story short, the Asian ones, I think they were the first on the market. So it's always easy to find them. But there's actually been a lot of European ones. And I think because they have a style that is similar already, they already had a similar series style. So it was easy for the transition. But then of course, with the capitalism of the States, once they started, they just skyrocketed.
I think we're probably quite similar because I think we're both people who get excited about like opportunities and pioneering and that sort of thing. So yes, you have 100% identified that we don't have African vertical dramas at the moment. It is a massive gap. But I've seen the pitch deck, so I know how awesome the numbers are. Please, could you explain to the internet the potential in Africa?
Potential. Like to explain the exciting potential, I think I'll let Ivan jump in a little bit and then I'll just add on.
Okay. Thanks, Edwin. Just to add a little bit of that story, right? When Edwin came to me with the vertical drama thing, never seen them, never really heard of them. And in the space of the last 1 to 2 months, I think I've watched maybe 20, mostly the American though. I've watched one Asian one European one. But yeah, really what got me interested to begin with was the potential. The fact that there's so many people in Africa watching these vertical dramas on their phones, more than there are people going to the cinema to watch movies, right? The cost of building cinemas and then the cost of going to watch a movie for most Ugandans or Africans, that's it's like a luxury, right? So to say. But it's definitely a mobile first society. Mobile phones picked up super quick, you know, with the M-Pesa. I don't know if you've heard of that. That's the mobile money, the banking on phones, to watching movies on phones and paying for stuff on phones, right? And then there's also the creator community where people are already doing TikTok shorts and, you know, reels and Instagram reels and that stuff. And they're actually scripting and making skits, except it's just a one-off, right? So
Yeah.
it's already a thing. It's just that the format is not. And yeah, so I guess that's the opportunity. The fact that it's a mobile first, you know, society. There's no African vertical dramas.
To add on to what Ivan has said, I think any and everywhere, most people look at like going to the movies as one of those, like an event, right? And I mean, that's the culture we've grown up on of, you know, we're going to go see the movies. We might go see like, you know, the half price movie on the weekday in the middle of the week, but it's an event. What I mean by that is there are costs involved and it's an event for a reason and it's great. But a lot of like the attention retention right now, like if someone is able to get that movie fix in bits on the go right now, I think the draw is really big for them. Like where before you had to go out of your way to either be on like a Netflix app or to go and watch movies, which is still cool, but you can't deny the numbers right now. And we haven't really recorded those numbers, but I know like the numbers are crazy in like China and the US, and I know the numbers are crazy here. It's just nobody's recording anything because people are just watching it. No one has really, number one, paid attention. But everywhere I go, people are watching them. Number two, we have close to 700 million users on the continent. And it's big on mobile, not just for entertainment, but for transactions, which is perfect for this thing, which is why TikTok has had such a huge impact and it's been an opportune thing in Africa. But I'll just even say like in, say Uganda, they don't even directly pay the creators. The creators get their tips from the content they put up from fans. I'm sure eventually they'll get to that. But even now, there are a lot of creators that are getting some money in from just being online in the TikTok space. But a lot of the creators that I know here are also doing skits. Just once the skit ends, they go to the next idea, even though some of the skits are related, like some of the characters recur. And I look at that and I'm like, if we could put a platform together that would allow people to actually create verticals, I think for us, we are already ready for that. The African continent is ready for that, both as the audiences and the consumers and the creatives, because a lot of the stuff that we do is actually built for that space, because we like the hooks that really drive vertical dramas and micro dramas. We like a lot of drama. Like we're big on that. We might not be the only ones, but I mean, for us, if something is happening every 30 seconds to a minute, people enjoy it. It's the reason why people are already watching them now. But we already even have a lot of cool stories like that on the African continent. I just haven't seen any verticals from Africa, which is what we're excited to pioneer and aim to do.
Done a brilliant job of explaining. Okay, you've got a huge audience who is so ready to watch these, and obviously all on their mobile phones. And also you've explained beautifully as well, I think the key point of that, like there's so many creators who already understand the format and how to grab the attention and how to work in a vertical frame. What I wanted to ask you about was actually the plan for writing and filming vertical dramas there. Because one of the things that I've realised as I've talked to people around the world is it's just so much easier for people to get going because you're not looking at £1 million budgets. You're looking at a much smaller budget, small team, fast turnaround, hopefully get on an app. Is that a really exciting part of it?
Definitely. We I already spoke to some creatives. We've been having meetings and we've been putting together projects. So how we're looking at it right now is it's twofold. On one hand, we're putting together a project or projects with the resources we have available. So that's the human resource. That's the fact that people are already doing this stuff on their phones and whatnot. I'll actually say threefold. The second thing we're looking at is we also believe that we are worthy to find the capital to do high quality verticals, in the sense of where you would notice a budgetary difference, because guys already do that here. Like, we already had to create those movies without the budgets that were necessary to do those types of movies. But it has definitely hampered the number of movies we could do. And I feel like the vertical space would change that drastically for us, in terms of we're looking at not only creating volume, which is very possible with a lot of creators who are already in that space, but we also believe that we can present it in a way where we could draw serious funding for it, because it speaks for itself. We have the creators, we have the consumers, we have all the resources in place, and everyone we've talked to doesn't even know what we're talking about until we're like 1 minute in, and they know exactly what we're talking about because they've all seen this format. But there is no app, which is why we really went to our people and said, let's put together the first vertical app for Africa, because I haven't seen one. Number one. Number two, there's been a lot of talk recently about an influx, like a really huge volume of vertical apps. Apparently the number is staggering, but we don't even have one. So we have a great market to really get in on, because we already know how to do big things in small packages. That's kind of how our creator economy has already been set up.
Can you tell everyone the name of your app and where it came from as well?
Well, the name of the app is Binyuma app. Binyuma just basically means it's entertaining. It's almost a phrase within itself. Like, if something is entertaining, basically we say Chinyuma. Or if like life is entertaining, like we talk about Binyuma, like Chinyuma, it's into Chinyuma, it's Uganda Chinyuma. Like, we use that phrase a lot already for the drama, and just our life feels like a movie already. The craziest memes come from where we're from. If we could just talk about Africa in general, even make it specific to Uganda, where a guy who's dancing with his waist like trends across all continents, or funny memes like somebody on a motorbike taxi with a goat. Like, for us, life is already entertaining. And also, our people are driven. We're prone to drama. Like, that's a continental thing. In Africa, if you look at any of our movies, our people are really expressive, and a lot of times some of them are really like that in real life. Like, when you go into like the communities, when people are telling stories, like they tell it like they're there. They allow themselves to express, which I think is something I've seen that is a bit different from the other cultures who do media. For us, it's second nature. It doesn't feel as mechanical. It's not like people are going out of their way to overexpress, hyper-express. And when you're doing verticals, you're face to face, you're up close. There's a lot of up close. Like, that format it doesn't work from far. And so when you're
it's all in the face, high emotion, isn't it?
Exactly. High emotion, like high activity, and we already have that.
I have to ask, given your music, can you see ways that you can weave your music into it as well?
Definitely, because I'm a fan of sound, and really, like, I think that's a big part of you. I've seen some great verticals. I've seen some very, 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 very not so great verticals in terms of the quality, but I've seen a lot of verticals pass because of great sound. So not even just the music, which can definitely be a part. I mean, I have so much musical content I could literally build verticals around, but I also have a high appreciation for sound. Like, if you get the sound right, you can convey so much more, and it's a bigger advantage in the vertical space because you're playing with less, where less is more.
I just want to ask, I've read 1 or 2 of your scripts, which are very good. I'd love to know what kind of stories would you love to tell? I mean, obviously your scripts, they've got high drama and they've got the romance, but what do you envisage?
First and foremost, we want to give the people what they want. So what we've seen from this is romance works really well, and the escapism is a big thing. And I don't even necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think it's one of the reasons that the vertical space is winning over Hollywood, is because Hollywood or whoever else suddenly woke up and decided that more realism is the way to go, and horrors and stuff like that. And I know that there's a crowd for that, but in general, people go to this medium to escape. So giving the people what they want is important. People want a good story. People want a story where they can see themselves in the lead in some way, and people want it to end well. You know, people want there to be challenges, but they want to know that at the end of the story, the guy gets the girl gets the guy. But also in saying that, we want to be a bit more experimental, and we've seen a few people who do that, and I think when they do it well, it works really well. And so for us, first and foremost, I think one of the biggest untapped spaces, even though I know more people are in that space and are working on it, is the heroine space. Is it has so much more opportunity to be taken advantage of in the story. Yeah, you know, like it's one of those things where you can almost never do too much of that. And power dynamics, I feel like we've seen a lot of one side. That so now here's the thing about the vertical space that's exciting to me is there's been a lot of one sided. So it's been a lot of one sided, say, the Asian culture. It's been a lot of one sided, say, we've seen American, we've seen European. Then we've seen a lot of one sided in terms of color. You know, you usually see the same. It's been one sided in terms of the story. I've watched a lot of verticals, and I've bumped into the same story like a bunch of times. And sometimes those stories are the hit stories, like a huge vertical, like has a lot of, and then you watch like 5, 6 different versions of the same story. So it's like they just flip the actors. And I understand why that works, and I don't want to take away from that. But definitely, I see the opportunity for more diversity in color, more diversity with the roles, more diversity with the stories, more diversity with the depth. Yeah, I might hate the villain, but I can still make them relatable. I want to do stuff like that, you know, like I've seen there's a hero, there's a lady in distress. Somebody's either been betrayed or they had a hookup at the beginning of the movie. And I get all that, you know, there is a villain and a villainess, and they're ridiculously mean, you know. And at every turn, they're like embarrassing people, and there's slaps, and there's all this stuff. And then towards the end, there's all these plot turns. And I get why it works. It's actually really good storytelling, but I also see that it has been done and redone. And without taking away from what works, we definitely want to experiment with that more, you know, like give the females more power and not hide them all the way to the end every time. Like, you know, give more people more power, like open up more. There is more than one success story, you know, it's not always a tech guy. It's not always a CEO. Basically, like, how can we have fun with the stories and still make them the type of stories that people are invested in, people want to watch and stay till the end, because that part still matters. So for us, it's just an opportunity to experiment. And what we get wrong, we get wrong. But what we get right can just be a beautiful adventure. And we are really excited to be part of that.
I mean, I already want to watch everything you've just talked about. So you've got a viewer here. You've got a subscriber. So the question is, everyone else who then listens to this is like, this sounds awesome. We want to find a way to support or work with you. How do people follow up? What do they do? Who do they get in touch with?
Okay, well, they can definitely reach us at Binyuma TV, and Jen, maybe you can help us and put that link, you know, Binyuma TV at gmail.com. And then we do have a Kickstarter campaign that we launched, and they can, you know, support us there. And the email, they can reach out personally, you know, if they want to support or fund or partner. We're definitely looking for partners, because we are new to this industry. There's people that have, you know, a ton of experience. We also have a LinkedIn page, a YouTube channel. So yeah, we're building as we go. And Jen, just to add a little bit on what Edwin was talking about, is one unique aspect of Binyuma is we want to open up to the public, right? We want to make our own verticals, but we want to have creators able to make their own verticals and upload them onto the app directly, right? Which is something that's a first anywhere, right? And the reason why is because, again, the volume, but we want to bring